of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share a gift with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment of our greatness. Let's stand together now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion burning inside. Paint with every vision and dance in new directions. Slow to new heights in your mind. I will rise up with you today. Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share a gift with the world that's waiting for a love that we're all creating. It's a moment of our greatness. Let's stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share a gift with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment of our greatness. Let's stand together now. Let's stand together now.
Thank you, Alex. All right, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Beautiful Humans. Okay, welcome to Sunday morning at Unity of Tucson. We are a spiritual community teaching practical tools to live spiritually in a 3D world. My name is Reverend Felicia Searcy. I am not Jonathan Zenz. I am the staff minister, which means I get to volunteer my time here as a minister. I am an ordained Unity minister. And this is my second time I'm doing this. So I hope the assumption is not that I got this down, because I don't. But as I shared when I did this earlier in October, I am here, I will pour my heart into you, and if I trip a little on the order, just lots of grace, because we're all here to celebrate who we are as divine beings of this one presence. So thank you for that ahead of time. Just remember that. Okay, so here at Unity of Tucson, we live with our vision and mission. And so let's start with our vision. This is what we see, and then our mission is the way that we do that. So together, let's say our vision. Our vision, envision a world awakened to its magnificence. And the way that we do that is our mission. And our mission is love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. All right, and if you're joining here for the first time, whether you're here in person or on the live stream, we'd like for you to, if you're brave, we'd like for you to let us know if you're willing to stand up so we can acknowledge you. And we have a special message for you. So if you're here for the first time, if you would be willing to stand. Yay! All right, so here's the deal. We're telepathic, and we knew you were coming, and we did research on you, and we discovered something about you. So together, let's let these amazing folks know. And if you're courageous enough to stay standing and to receive what we've discovered about you, together, everybody, let's let them know what we know about them. 1, 2, 3. You are magnificent. Yeah, so just take that in. And here's the deal. We know that about you because this is what we've discovered about ourselves as divine beings in a human form. And so together, let's all of us affirm it and claim it for ourselves. Together, I am magnificent. Ooh, that's a delicious feeling, huh? Kind of shiver all the way down. All right, so if you could please welcome today's Keeper of the Flame. And I don't think it's, yes, Carol Withy.
We light a candle for the Tao. honoring the universal path of equilibrium and the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people and the way of primal spirituality. And we light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to divine love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universal religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony, and for any seekers who may be unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are keeping open for them in our hearts. We light this final candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. This is your candle for whatever is in your mind and heart that requires the light.
And Alex, thank you, is lighting our peace candle. This is the candle to your left. This represents the peace in our hearts, the reality of who we are. And as we bring our attention and our focus back to our natural state of oneness and the light within us, this is what we emanate as we bring peace to our world. And so together, let's say our prayer for world peace. Together, divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established and peace begins to reign in our world. So just take that in for a moment. As we establish peace within ourselves, knowing that we become the focal point for peace, and to the degree that we establish ourselves in peace, is the degree that we transmit this and truly bring it and establish it in our world. All right, so if we do please welcome our amazing prayer chaplain back from her Sawyer journey in the South, Sandy Solomon.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's so lovely to be back in Tucson. But you know what makes it really lovely is to look out here and see each one of you. You are absolutely magnificent. Please, please, please believe that, because it is so true. So this morning I have the great opportunity to take us through an affirmation. Now, you've been doing this affirmation all month long, so I know you know it. What is the power we're working with this month? Zeal, exactly. Zeal, someone's got it. She's ready. Yeah, good. Thank you. So we're going to be working with zeal, and then I'm going to do a reading, and then we're going to have some prayer time. Okay, so those are the three things that I'm going to do. But before I start that, I have to do something else. I just have to. And this is from my heart. Yesterday, we had a wonderful event here, and it was a women's retreat. Now, I'm not sure how many women are here today that were there yesterday, but I see a couple hands come up, absolutely. And, women's retreats are great, right? It's great to be a woman. It's great to be a man. It's because we're all equally male and female. We have that energy. But when women get together, we really celebrate one another. And so it was a beautiful day of that, and I expected that. But Reverend Felicia just really knocked my socks off yesterday. It was an incredible event. It really was. And the ones that were there know it, and hopefully she'll do this for our whole community, because it was about taking what's in your heart and bringing it out onto the physical plane. And she just did an amazing job with that. And so I want to say a special thank you. And so for the women that were there yesterday, I'd like you to stand, if you will. If you can, if that feels comfortable. Oh my gosh, look how many. We had about 40, I think, yesterday, but look at everyone we have here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what I'd like us to do is really show our appreciation, not only to Felicia, but to that wonderful team that got here early and set up and had a wonderful breakfast and had a wonderful lunch. And there were things like gluten-free and flowers, and it was perfect in every way. We want to say a special thank you to those people. And then I want you to say a special thank you to yourself for having the courage to be here and to be open to growth, because that's what we're all about, okay? So let's just give up. Let's say thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and thank you to each one of those beautiful people that showed up and gave themselves yesterday. That's what made it so special. All right, we're ready for our affirmation. Now, this is the affirmation on zeal. And, zeal is the way we show up in life. It's the power that we can use to spring forth every day. And now you can tell a little bit about my personality already. I really don't have a problem with zeal. That comes pretty easily for me, right? I'm sort of out there, all right? But now, someone else may express zeal from more of an internal place, and it comes out as strength. It's still enthusiasm, but has a bit of difference. And so when we go through this affirmation, I really would like you first, and you know the drill. I'm going to say it the first time. You're just going to take it in. Let it just absorb in you and just ask, how would I express the power of zeal? Now, this is a really safe place. So if you're the person that's like, I'd like to know what it's like to just stand up and say, I live life enthusiastically, I'm going to give it a try. I'm not going to sit in my seat during this. I'm actually going to stand up and say it when it's your time to say it. You don't have to. You can do it however it's right for you. Right? Okay, so I'm going to say it first. You just take it in, and then we're going to say it together twice. And I really want you to I want you to have some fun with it, whatever that looks like for you. All right? Okay, so it's going to come up here. If it doesn't, I have it on a piece of paper. So, it's good, because I don't have this memorized yet. All right. I live my life enthusiastically, fully expressing the infinite potential of each and every moment. Now, you see, y'all were so excited you couldn't wait, and I love that. Who cares what she says? All right, but now we're going to say it together, all of us, all right? Are going to say it together, and really say it. If you want to stand up, please do stand up, all right? Oh, I got some people that, yes, we're ready to go. All right, together. I live my life enthusiastically, fully expressing the infinite potential of each and every moment. Again, I live my life enthusiastically, fully expressing the infinite potential of each and every moment. Yes! No, I think we're ready to go on to another power next month. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be good. All right, good. Thank you. And thank you for having fun with that. This is what we do here is we have fun. So thank you. All right. So my partner, John, and I flew back in on Monday night. And about Wednesday, I was like, I think I am supposed to do something like, that affirmation and that reading thing. And so I looked out there and I found out Reverend Felicia was the one that's going to be the speaker. And so I texted and I said, okay, so what is it? What are you going to speak on? And she said, I'm going to speak on the law of supply and the law of abundance, attraction. She's got to keep me on the law of supply, the law of subtraction.
Andy, I'm going to love you, and I'm just going to
Yeah, you're good. Just keep me on track. She does that. And intention. And so I just opened up my being and said, how can I support in this? And so what came to me is this particular quote, and I hope it is a springboard into the talk, all right? And so this is coming from, and if you're a Unity person, you're going to know this book, Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth. And I have to tell you, my copy was a little dusty. And I got it off the shelf and I started reading it and I could not put it down. I was thinking, yeah, this is great. So this comes from about page 17, 18. And he gives a definition first, and then it will continue from there. The word universe, in its literal meaning, is the whole body of a thing, the basic unit of all life. Actually, we are implying a larger thought, a larger concept of God. The word God and universe can be used interchangeably, referring to the whole of things or allness, which is present in and through all. And I would even add, as us. In the universal realm in which you live and have being, the whole of God is present at every point in space at the same time. This is a fantastic concept. Read those words again, and I think I will. The whole of God is present at every point in space at the same time. Take time to meditate on this great idea, and we are. In other words, God doesn't come and go. God doesn't capriciously move substance from God's supply up there to fill your need down here. Nor does God answer prayer in some special kind of coming forth. God is always present, totally present, as a presence. You may be praying for increased supply, but the whole of God, substance, is present as a prospering presence in your being right now, this moment. Yes. And so Alex and the band is just going to lead us straight into our prayer time. Thank you, Alex. So appreciate it.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and
in this moment, in this divine moment, we are God in expression. We are the glorious expression of the presence of the divine. We are the unconditional love that shows up as compassion, that is absolutely inclusive. We are the radiant health, and we move with grace and ease. We have infinite supply, and it flows through us as abundance. And so right now, I want you, if there's some place in your life that has lack, I'm going to ask you as we go into the silence, just the silence within, as we go into the silence, put that story, just put it down. What does it feel like to live from your true place of being? In the silence, live from that place. I am so grateful. I am so grateful for this truth of our being. And so I'm going to ask you to repeat with me 3 times. I am so grateful. Together, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Special music? Oh.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can you hear that pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade. But I'm not afraid. This rover crossed over, and if I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. sand. I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. On the sunny side of the street.
Wow. Thank you, Josh. Tapping the toes. Love it, love it, love it. So, yeah. So, good morning, everybody. It is such a joy to be here with you all this morning. And my talk has nothing to do with Halloween, but I have to acknowledge it because as a kid, I used to love Halloween. I used to love to be able to dress up and, do the trading with the candy. You poured it all out and you trade it and you hid from I hid from my older brother and sister. And so, anyway. Yeah, and I love the ears, and I think Sherry's got some stuff going on. So anyway, so happy Halloween. Now, speaking of make-believe, it's been interesting. The last couple of months, I've done a lot of traveling, and I had the opportunity to be on both coasts. I was in the Orlando area, and then I was in Anaheim. And I was literally right outside of both Disney parks. I watch the fireworks. I actually was able to get be on a boat and do on the lake of Orlando's Disney and watch the fireworks. And I was literally across the street in Anaheim and saw the fireworks from my hotel window. I got upgraded to a suite because I'm a Marriott goddess. Just means I travel a lot and I stay in a lot of Marriotts. But it reminded me of Walt Disney's story. And I don't know if you all know this or not, but Disney did not have an easy time of it. That when his first venture, he actually went bankrupt, that he got cheated and he ended up having to declare bankruptcy. And then when he got going a little bit, and before he invented Mickey, he had a floppy ear character and he had a deal with Universal Studios, and Universal Studios effectively cheated him. And then when Snow White was a hit, and then the film after that was Pinocchio, and it was a flop. Disney kept at it because he had a vision of what it was to bring happiness to people. And then he had this dream to build the happiest place on earth. And he went down to this swamp area of Anaheim. If you've ever been to Southern California, there's really not a whole lot there except now concrete. But at the time, right, in the 405, and at the time, it was just swamp. But he looked into the swamp and he saw a possibility. He saw supply. And he said, I'm going to build the happiest place on earth, on the planet, here in this swamp in Anaheim. And he knew with his history that it was going to be a bit of a challenge for himself to believe in it and for the other people working with him to believe in it. So he did what was a counterintuitive, a contrary move. He told his builders and his engineers to build the castle first. Now, this makes no sense. You typically, and with that, he said, put it in the center because I want everybody to be able to see the castle no matter where they are in the park. Now, this made absolutely no sense. When you're building a huge enterprise like Disneyland, you start from one end and you do it efficiently. That there's a system and you build like one thing of everything like an assembly line. It's more effective, it's more financially efficient, it just makes more sense. He didn't want to do it the sensible way. He knew if he was going to pull this thing off with his history, he needed to do something out of the ordinary. And he said, I want the castle first. I want it first and I want it complete because I want people to see it, to start generating interest. I want their attention to go to the castle and I want there to be an expectation that this is going to be a beyond descriptive kind of experience. He wanted the people that were working on it to have that vision in mind. This is what we're working on. We're building around this castle to create the happiest place on the planet. I think it worked. I think it was successful. And what I appreciate about Disney was that he was an unconscious competent. I don't think he was aware of what he was doing, but he was an unconscious competent of what it took to activate the law of supply and the law of attraction. And in our fall renewal program that Jonathan has set up for us to take a deeper dive into our own spiritual awareness, this is where we're going today. We are in the study of Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell, great book. And today, we're looking at the law of supply and the law of attraction. And I love the story of Disney because he demonstrated what it was to stay true to a vision and true to what he knew to be deep down for him to be true, even in the face of facts and conditions that were telling him, this is a crazy idea. And nevertheless, as he stayed devoted to that vision and let the vision be bigger than the facts and conditions and his history, we now have multiple Disney parks where gazillion amounts of people, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's a whole bunch of people on a regular basis, make it they make it their life's mission to get to Disney because they want to have that experience. So what is the law of supply and the law of attraction? Well, let me describe to it in this way. Well, first of all, the law of supply says the minute you have a demand, it's evidence that the supply is already here. The guy Jesus, which, by the way, I am kind of a Jesus person, so just saying, you're going to hear me speak of Jesus a lot. He's kind of my guy. But Jesus talks about how he gives us a statement from Matthew where he says, ask, and it shall be given. Knock, and the door will open. He goes on to say, not that. He goes on to say, pray believing. Ask, and you shall receive. Knock, and the door will be opened. When you pray, pray believing. What I love about that, and I said this when I spoke earlier in the month about what I brought to you then, I love what Jesus tells us because it's instructive, right? That he's telling us how to do it. How do you create the thing that you want to create? Here's how you do it. You got to ask. First, you have to ask, and then you got to pray believing. And then what I love about it, he's kind of, he plays head games with us a little bit. It's descriptive. He understood and continues to understand in the invisible realm, we're always asking. We're always praying. We can't turn those functions off. And so if we want to know what we're asking for, what we teach in New Thought, all we got to do is look at what's happening in the land of our results. If we want to know fundamentally what is it that we really believe, all we got to do is look in the land of our results. Not as an indictment, but simply as feedback and an invitation to go deeper into what we know about the reality of Spirit expressing through us and the reality of the laws at work in our life. Now, so with that, so how do we activate that effectively, right? Because there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of asking, and they think they're asking for what they really want. Where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect between the ask and the result, the 3D manifestation? It's our understanding of the law. That when we deepen our understanding of the law, we can come into harmony with what is it that we truly are asking for and what's showing up. Here's the thing about the law. We can have anything that we're in harmony with. Let me say that again. We can have anything that we're in harmony with. We just have to learn how to come into harmony with it. And Raymond Hollowell and a whole bunch of other people, and Charles Fillmore, and Myrtle and Charles Fillmore included, talk incessantly about the power that we have been given, this indescribable, infinite, just speechless, which is hard for me to be, for those of you who know me, power to create. And that power starts with our thinking. Let me read from Hollowell, because he talks about one of the laws being the laws of thinking, and Reverend Jonathan spoke on this a couple of weeks ago. But here's what he says. He says, it is an unlimited force, your power to think. Your power to think is inexhaustible. And then he goes on, yet there is not one in 1,000 that may fully be aware of the possibilities of his thought power. We are mere babes in handling it. We are mere babes in handling it. Now, what I love about that statement is that when we look at, as a human species, what we've achieved, it's really quite breathtaking where we've come and what we've created. With everything we see starting as an idea in the mind of whoever thought it up, with that thought being connected to the one mind of God, that all ideas come from the mind of God. It's just a matter of how are they filtering through us. So just take a moment and just kind of revel in that principle, in that law, that we have the indescribable, unlimited power to create through our thought. Now, we get that conceptually, and we have examples in our life where we've done it. We've had examples in other people's lives where you can actually see thought in action. Yet, there's a disconnect. And Jesus tells us where the disconnect is. He says, because we can see where we have a thought, we have a desire, right? Because Hollowell goes on to talk about desire, and we're not seeing it in our world. We're not seeing the desire manifesting in our world. And Jesus tells us this. He says, you have not because you ask not. We're not asking. We think we're asking, but we're really not asking. There's a science to the ask. I love what Rumi says, where he says, you go around begging for bread, not realizing that you have the basket on top of your head. Right? The law of supply. The moment you think it up, it's evidence that it's here in the invisible realm. We just have to come into harmony with it. And what happens, I don't know about you, but here's the thing about this stuff. It's mastery. We have to come into mastery with this. It is not just enough to have the information. We have to be practically using this information when we're going about our daily lives. We have to be mindful about what am I thinking? When I'm making a sandwich, when I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm making a phone call, when I'm in traffic, because we're thinking something all the time. We can't turn this off. And that conversation, whether we want it to be or not, is our ask. It's what we are transmitting to this invisible field about what is it that we really expect, that we really believe. Hollowell goes deep into the word expectation. He says it is useless to have a desire unless you expect it to be fulfilled. It's a waste of energy. He goes on and tells us it is a waste of natural energy to have an ask, to have a desire, and not to expect it. So he then goes on and he gives us, so the law of supply says that with every demand, there is the supply. The question is, are we really giving ourselves permission to ask? Or do we kind of do this? Oh, I hope, please. I want this so badly. When I go to turn my faucet on, I don't go to my faucet and say, oh God, please let there be water. I affirm that there's water, right? I turn the faucet on because there's an assumption that water is going to come out. That whoever did the plumbing in my house understands the law of gravity in order to be able to build the pressure to bring the water from wherever it is, and we're holding that the water lasts. Probably not a very good example to be using here in Tucson. Maybe we should go with electricity. But that they understand the laws of gravity to pull it out of the source and bring it into my house. I assume that the people that built my house understood that law. So when I go to turn, and I'm trusting that my husband's paying the bill. And so, that when I go to turn the water on, the water's coming. That's what it is to ask in that state of expectation. that there is an assumption. There is such an assumption that you literally organize your activity around the assumption that the ask is going to be delivered. Disney built his parks on the assumption that they were going to be successful. So Hallowell, in the law of demand, the law of supply, he's telling us to ask. Jim Carrey has a great video that I showed yesterday where he talks about, he was doing the commencement exercise, and I don't remember what school it was. Maybe it was like the University of Santa Monica. It was something along those lines. But he said, as far as I can tell, it's just a matter of asking, that the universe just wants us to ask. And so the question is, are you truly giving yourself permission to ask? Understanding that the ask is actually the cord that connects us between us and the divine. That is actually, it's the divine's ask through us in order to be able to be that conduit through which more abundance, more joy, more of this divine essence makes itself known. So the question is, are you asking? What's your ask? And are you doing it from a place of pleading and hoping and begging? Or are you doing it with the awareness that you have the basket on top of your head? It's an assumption. It's an expectation because you know who you are as a divine being, as an expression of all that is. So Hallowell gives us very specific instructions on how to ask, how to activate that desire. So the first thing is that you have to be willing to know what your desire is. And that seems like it should be so simple. The thing that I love about Halloween is that it's such a childlike holiday, right? That we think it's designed for kids. But man, and I don't really do much with Halloween today. We're up in the foothills. We're kind of not stuck. I love where we live, but we're in the desert. And so, we're not going to have people that are going to be coming in trick-or-treating into our part of the world. But it's that place of imagining possibilities. And as kids, we didn't have any problem with it. And we could put ourselves in it as if it was real. And as adults, that got trained out of us. That we got trained to put more faith in what's happening in our world than in the power that moves through us. We got trained to have more faith in what we see with our five senses than what we see with this activated divine power called our imagination. And so Hallowell gives us 3 steps to stay faithful to the law of supply and the law of attraction. These are actually in his chapter on the law of attraction. And the 3 phases are interest, attention, and expectation. First, you become aware that you have a desire. And you build the flame of that desire. You let yourself want something. And then you become interested in it. You become interested in understanding the law to be able to activate and materialize and fulfill that desire. You become interested in how it was fulfilled in the past in your own life. You become interested in how it was fulfilled in other people, which is why I love studying people who beat the odds and achieved amazing things. And so you're building your interest. Now with your interest and your desire, it then attracts your attention. The thing about your attention is that your attention then triggers a domino effect that will then activate what you see in your imagination. What you see in your imagination becomes the organizing pattern for you in your life, and it becomes the transmission to this invisible field. So when you have a desire, you become vigilant in where you're putting your interest, and then what are you paying attention to? And you're paying attention to that which is in harmony with your desire when you feel expansive in the presence of what you're paying attention to. You know that you've moved to being seduced by what's happening in our world because you feel contractive with what you're paying attention to. Now, I am not saying to hide your head in the sand. I had a conversation with my person who did my hair last week who's not paying attention to anything that's going on. And I'm like, well, we need to pay attention. We don't want to put our heads in the sand, and we need to take the actions that we're guided to take but to not be sucked into it, thinking that this is the truth. The truth is what you're seeing in your mind's eye. That's reality. And the mastery, our work, our spiritual discipline is to believe more what's happening in the mind as we are being divinely directed than what we're seeing out here. So let me give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Southern California, Anaheim. I was there for a training. And I had a full-day event coming up that Tuesday, and I wanted to fly home Saturday night. Finished up, went to John Wayne Airport to fly home. We're all gathering at the gate, and about 15 minutes before we're getting ready to board. And all of a sudden, people's phones start going off, and I start seeing the line, lining up at the desk. And I look at my phone, flight's been canceled. I'm rescheduled for Sunday at 6 o'clock into Phoenix, which means, okay, I'm going to get home around 10. I'm looking at, okay, well, that's not going to work. And so I get on the phone with Southwest and said, what can I do? So this is the best that we can do. Thinking. Okay, do what I can where I am with what I have. I'm 6.5 hours from Phoenix, rent a car. So I go down to the desk, I rent a car. I had somebody say, oh my God, the weather's horrible. You're going to be in all these storms. You're not going to make it. I'm like, keep it to yourself. I didn't say that in so many words, but I kind of did. It's like, I'll be fine. So I get in. It's not my preference, right? It's like, woohoo! I get to spend 6.5, 7 hours, 3 of those hours just getting out of LA on the road Saturday night to get home to Phoenix, to then be able to drop the rental car off, pick up my car, and drive home Sunday morning. So I get into Buckeye, check into a Marriott on the way home. And I am an extrovert to the extreme. I will get into a conversation, Sandy, you're my soul sister, honey. Get into a conversation with anybody. So I'm in a conversation, 12:15 at night, with the woman behind the desk, and I'm telling her what happened. And she just looked at me and she said, oh my God, what a nightmare. I'm like, wow, how did I communicate a nightmare? Nightmare, inconvenience, yes. Nightmare, no. And it really brought me up short because I realized in that moment, there was a part of me that was kind of wanting a little bit of sympathy, that I had to be on the road for 6.5 hours. Never mind the fact that I had the means to do it. I had the ability to think of the idea, and I had the capacity at that time of night with my health to be able to see and be on the road from about 7 at night to after whatever the time was, that I had the ability and the capability and the resources to be able to do that. It's so subtle. It's so sneaky where we're placing our attention, which then determines our experience and what we expect. The reason why this is important is because it will then determine the ideas that you see or you don't see, the actions that you take and the way in which you take those actions, and our ability to receive. Hallowell tells us that with a desire, we must have the expectation. He says, desire will put you in touch with the inner world of the cause and connect you by invisible means with the substance of the thing desired. Continuous expectation is necessary to bring it into your life. And I'm going to take it a step further because it's expectation based in assumption. There's an assumption. And there's an action for you to take accordingly to that assumption. It's not just that we come to Sunday morning. I love that Jonathan gives us homework, and it's so practical, that if we're not moving our feet in the direction of our faith with our actions indicating what we expect, it's kind of like we're driving with the brake on. It's like, yeah, God, I believe, but let me hedge my bets. Let me have a plan B. Let me see if there's a way to get around the thing that I know that this divine intelligence is asking me to do as evidence that this is my assumption. So as you imagine the thing that you have in your mind, What is the step? So one more story. There's a great story in the Jewish text. Many people call it the Old Testament. It's actually the Jewish text because they're still using it, so it's still very much alive, and we're still using it. But there's a story where the Israelites were fighting, which, they were kind of fighting all the time. But this time, they were fighting the Moabs, and they were running out of water. And so they went to the prophet Elijah, which is the forerunner. Elisha and Elijah were the forerunners of Jesus. And they went to Elijah and they said, we're running out of water. We need water. We got to have water for our horses. What do you think we should do here? And so Elijah went and had a conversation with God. And God told Elijah to go back and tell them, dig ditches. Be prepared. Prepare for water. There was no place the water came. There was no place for the water to go. He said, there will be no cloud or wind in the sky. Dig the ditches. And so Elijah came back, and they trusted Elijah, and they dug the ditches. And the water appeared. It was like it was a miracle. It wasn't a miracle. It's law. It's law. We transmit what we expect according to our actions. And so when you look at your desire, ask, where is my attention? What am I interested in? And what's the action step that is the suggestion that this is my assumption? Now, I work with entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. I got to tell you, it is spirituality on steroids because we're always taking action steps based in an assumption of success. So it's easy for me to see it in that world. It's like when I take that step, this is an assumption that I'm going to be successful with this. This church was built on that assumption. You cannot build a spiritual community the way that Tucson has shown up and have it materialize out of nowhere. There had to be an assumption that it was going to be a place of spiritual nourishment. When you all brought Jonathan in, you did it with an assumption that Jonathan was going to co-create, bring together partnership and co-create a community of spiritual growth and possibility. We can see it on a grander scale and on a daily basis. On a daily basis, what's the action that is congruent, that is in harmony with who you're becoming and what you're creating? That's the law of attraction. It's actually an interesting law because the law of attraction is simply, it's the effect of the vibration that we're in. It's the effect of what we've been assuming. It should actually be the law of assuming, the law of harmony. What are we in harmony with? And as we come into harmony and understanding who we are as divine beings, and not just in a warm and fuzzy conceptual place on a Sunday morning, but when we're actually asking a bold ask, a off the chart, this is crazy, I'm building the happiest place in the world in a swamp in Anaheim, California, and Orlando, Florida, right? That's us. What's our ask? Okay, I'm bypassing all of this. And what's your castle? What's your castle? As we wrap up, put your castle front and center. Be interested in your castle. Put your attention on the evidence of your castle. Expect, assume that law is working with, through, and for you to build your castle, knowing that as you do this, of course you transform. You bless everybody around you. You build your own happiest place on earth. And truly, this is how we bring our greatest contribution to the body of humanity. God bless.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without, all I need loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
So let's just take a moment and ground ourselves in the reality of pure being, knowing that our desire is not our desire. It is this life force energy seeking a richer, freer, fuller expression through each one of us and by means of us. And we hear the whisper of Spirit saying, ask, ask. It's here. Simply ask and know with profound, calm assurance, deep knowing that all you desire is here, waiting to express. And hear the action step, that this is the step that I take in accordance with this desire, reflecting my assumption that truly law is at work in and through me. And as I do this, not only do I do it for myself, but truly, this is how I bear witness to the power and the glory of the one that indwells me. And we just say, thank you for this gift. Thank you for our desire. Thank you for the expectation that it is here. Thank you, God. And in the name and in the nature of Christ's presence, we say thank you, sweet Spirit. So it is. Amen.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I ask is here and now. Where there's a let me love, may I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Now and evermore.
Thank you, Alex. All right. So here's your homework. Yes, homework. I'm going to encourage you to challenge your ask. Where are you backing off? Where are you watering down your ask? And then to look at, with the ask, what's my assumption? What's my expectation? And what's the act that organizes this, the energy, organizes the law around this desire and expectation? So just that and go eat a peanut butter sandwich. Or go eat a really good piece of chocolate for Halloween. So, all right, so the offering. So after the end, okay, so William, I'm bringing you up. Come on up. So our board member of the day, William Summers. So thank you, William. And he's promised to give me a hard time. And I told him, look, I'm married to a good old Southern boy. I know what it is to have a guy around me to have a hard time. So give me your best shot, William.
Well, right away, I noticed you're not Reverend Jonathan.
Oh, great observation. Good paying attention.
But I did notice something about you.
Uh-oh.
I noticed that you're just a magnificent expression of the divine. And we were graced with your presence this morning.
Oh, well,
All right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you've been here long enough. You probably noticed that when it comes time for the giving, I never ask for any money.
Yeah, I do
Never,
notice
I
that.
just don't. And the reason I don't do that is it doesn't work for me. And this new thought philosophy, Unity in particular, has taught me that if something doesn't work, make a different choice. So I choose to stand in a different space. I choose to stand in a place of thankfulness. I'm so thankful that this community has created a place in Tucson and online where people not only feel safe, because as wonderful as that is, it's fairly hollow, but they also feel welcomed and loved no matter where you come from. So when the basket comes around, I'm not asking for any money. I'm saying thank you.
Thank you, William. All right. So as the basket goes around, let's say our offering affirmation together. I share this gift with love, conscious of the inner presence as the lavish source and substance of my supply. I am rooted in the assurance that this gift blesses Unity of Tucson, and I trust in its ever-present circulation, knowing its blessings return to me. And so it is. And so if you are able and so inclined, if you want to stand and sing our offertory song that Alex is going to lead us in.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful.
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 I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
Of gratitude and just embracing it, because I am grateful. I am grateful for the source energy that is flowing through me at all times, and I am grateful for the knowledge that as I align with my desires and my ask, that vibrational energy flows through me and out of me through abundance. And I am so grateful for all of you that have chosen to give some of that abundance and those gifts back to Unity in this house that we call home. This community is so appreciative and loving, and I am grateful for all that is. And I affirm that this gift will then go out into the world and support the love and the message and the magnificence that Unity shares with everyone. And I affirm this by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Sherry. All right, so announcements, Unitix Gathering, Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, November 12th at 9:30. See the amazing Molly, and I know she's here somewhere. And then another Unitix outing, the Gaslight Theater, December 22nd. Tickets go on sale next Sunday, so you want to make sure that you get your tickets for that. Before we bring the kids up, I too want to thank some folks that made yesterday possible. It was really an amazing experience, and it's because of what happens behind the scenes. And so Imola De Toro, Kara Wothy, Paula Osen, Carl Osen, Elizabeth Quinn, Jerry Wothy, of course Tyler, and then Sue Rumsey, who initiated it with a conversation in line with me back in February or March. And so, thank you, everybody who participated. All right, so today's prayer chaplains, we want to thank Sandy Solomon and Sherry Hoffman. The tech team, William for Board Member of the Day. Prayer chaplains. Oh, prayer chaplains are available. They're going to be there right in the middle if you have a prayer request. So come take advantage of that. That's your Miracle Minute. And then join us for social time in Harmony Hall. So let's say our... Oh.
Mentioned our beautiful musician guest.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, thank you, Josh, and thank you, the band. So I wasn't on the slides. Yeah, no, you guys were amazing. Love the song, Sunny Side of the Street. So, all right, so together, let's close with our prayer for protection. I am infinite love. I am infinite love. I am infinite power. I am infinite presence. Wherever God is, I am. Wherever I am, God is. And so it is. And so if you are so inclined to stand with our closing song. Oh, kids, sorry. Come on up. Grace, 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 grace. Yeah. So what did you guys do today, the day before Halloween?
We were being very creative today. You probably didn't notice that we got here a
Oh,
little
thank
early,
you.
but we were being very creative today. Oh, Anthony's there. So, and as you leave, we do have little treats for y'all, so we'll come to the back and
Oh,
be our little Halloween givers.
thank you, Chris. Yay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies. It's an amazing thing that you're holding space for our kids. Yeah. All right, so now, if you're so inclined, let's shine our lights.
There's light in the soul. There is beauty in the person. When there's beauty in the person, there is harmony in the home. When there's harmony in the home, there is honor in the nation. When there's honor in the nation, there is peace in the